So do you want to be a white ally during the Black Lives Matter movement? I'm going to stop you right there. This is not a temporary gig. If you want to be an ally, you must first own up to the fact that you have had, and always will have, a relationship with racism, with benefits. No amount of performative allyship will ever exempt you from racism, because there is no wokeness award, and it's not a one-way street. And let me be clear, this is not about you. Yes, I'm talking to you, social media influencers who put up a motivational message and a hashtag to show your support. I'm definitely talking to you, congressional Democrats who take a knee and wear kente cloth for the cameras in honor of George Floyd. This is not how to be an ally. Being an ally is about realizing the many moments in your life which, despite being disabled, gay, poor, whatever, whiteness has given you an advantage. The fact that your workplace overlooks resumes with black-sounding names, that seeing a black man walking around in your neighborhood is unusual enough that it gives you pause, that black authors get paid less than their white counterparts, and that young black illustrators get turned down because their work isn't mainstream enough. These are only a few examples of white privilege. Here's a better one. For context, I am a white autistic male. Because I struggle with empathy, I cannot easily put myself in another one's shoes, so to speak. I have no idea what it's like to be anyone but myself, but I do have compassion and a sense of justice, so I work with what I know. I know what it feels like to be on the margins, to be seen with suspicion, to lose a loved one, to have panic attacks and autistic meltdowns. I know what it's like to be afraid, to be both a parent and someone's child. When I put the pieces of my experience together, they'll always just be that, pieces. But because I have compassion, I listen to what people say about their experience. And when they tell me how they'd like to be treated, I take notes and I try my hardest. If you are white and autistic like me, you will undoubtedly attract the attention of police for the way you naturally behave. Our stimming, anxiety, and lack of eye contact are perceived as dishonesty. Our sensory sensitivities, difficulty understanding and responding to instructions under pressure, our unpredictable movements, the way we seek out unusual things that relate to our special interests, how we put our hands in our pockets so nobody can see us stimming, everything about an autistic looks suspicious to the uninitiated, especially in a stressful situation. One time, I was stopped at a traffic checkpoint and had a flashlight shown in my eyes. While I was shaking and stuttering, the officer asked if I was on any drugs and asked me to get out of the vehicle to walk in a straight line. It was terrifying. Luckily, another officer saw me and asked if I took any medication that would make my eyes dilate, so while avoiding eye contact with my hands in my pockets, I explained that I took Adderall. They all had a good laugh and I got away safely. Another time, I was looking for native plants in a hiking trail, wearing military surplus bags of camera lenses. Native plants were my special interest and I was photographing them. So when I emerged in a clearing, I was immediately surrounded by police. Apparently an NFL team was training there and they thought I looked suspicious, so they searched my bags, and as soon as I was allowed, I ran away without looking back. I got to go home that night. For white autistics, getting stopped by police is inevitable. It's almost a rite of passage. We can talk about the many times we were sent home, traumatized, but nonetheless lived to tell the tale. Now imagine how this might pay out for a black autistic, face-to-face with a white police officer with PTSD and his own racial bias. You can have all the money in the world, but when you're confronted by police, privilege has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that your skin color could mean the difference between politeness and brutality, a ticket or an arrest, life or death. So if you want to be an ally, you need to take this knowledge and let it really sink in. I want you to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that white privilege is not a politically correct buzzword, it is real. You need to get angry that autistics like you, mothers of autistic children like you, churchgoers like you, human beings like you are scared. This is real life for them, and they're tired of the false promises and betrayal by so-called allies. So being an ally is not about checking on your black friends to see if they're okay. It is about boosting their voices and speaking up on their behalf when necessary. It's about offering your friends support, but giving them space and time to process. Being an ally means never speaking over Black people, Being an ally means that you never speak over Black people or pretend that you know what it feels like to be in their shoes. I wouldn't want a non-autistic person telling me what it's like to be autistic, and you wouldn't want a stranger to write your autobiography. So don't co-opt Blackness as your own experience. Being an ally is about listening to and lifting up Black voices, learning from those individual experiences as you go. It's about combining that knowledge with your own resources and privilege and using it to educate other white people, yes, even your relatives when they air their problematic views. This is scary, but you can do this. Being an ally is about using your privilege to help Black folks succeed. It means recommending your Black colleagues for promotions and pointing out their good work that goes unnoticed. Black-white inequality is worse today than it was in the year 2000. Do everything in your power to correct that. Being an ally also isn't about perfection. It's a moving target and depends upon the individual Black people in your lives that you hope to support, such as the people in your industry or community. There's no universally agreed upon right way to be an ally to Black people, which brings me to my next point. Black lives do matter, every single one, and not just the nice ones who meet your standards. Intersectionality is a tangled web of identities, disabilities, and privileges, and you won't understand or agree with everyone. But if you do say Black Lives Matter, you need to be inclusive of all Black people. The mass of peaceful protesters and the small handful of looters. Every single one of those Black lives will matter tomorrow. Those Black lives will matter when the dust is settled too. Will you be an ally then?